Today I'm here with Abel Garcia. Abel, thank you so much for joining me. I have talked to you before and seen previous interviews, and I just really wanted to give you an opportunity to tell your story. And one of the things that I think has been kind of um, one of the biggest questions I've had for you after having watched your videos and talked to you a little bit is you took on a trans identity at some point, decided that you felt more like a woman. And there's been a lot of questions lately about what it means to be a woman. And just to start us off, what did it mean to you to become a woman?
For me, back then, it was just I wanted the world to perceive me in a more feminine appearance than masculine, just because, like I've said in all my other interviews, I was a very shy, quiet kid. I didn't really feel what it meant to be a man at the time, and I did have some trauma leading up to right before I started my transition.
I was curious, just sort of in your mind at that time, what you thought presenting as more feminine would, how it would change your life for the better. Because it's such a drastic thing. I mean, it's one thing to sort of wear makeup and a dress or something, but you went through surgery and took hormones, and it seems like you must have thought there would be a solution to some of your problems with that.
Well, honestly, I don't really know why. And that's also because I was 19 at the time when I finally took the hormones and was at talking to doctors. And being 19 from a Mexican household, I really don't really know much myself personally, and relying on the adults up to then. I believe the doctors and the activists who said all I needed was the hormones and surgeries and I would be a woman. So not thinking more than that, I believe
So
them.
you thought you would actually become a woman.
Yeah, because they said, well, they would give me estrogens and that would adjust my body's hormones to be more of that of a woman's with estrogen. Obviously, breast implants would have given me breast. Obviously, hormones would have also given me some breast. And the way, obviously, they sell bottom surgery as well. Uh, they get rid of it and they make a neo vagina out of it without telling you the truth that that's not actually possible. It's just a wound in between your legs
Yeah.
and that you have to monitor every day for the rest of your life.
Well, and that's, I think, one of the myths that I hear that kids believe is they hear the doctors say that they can become a woman and they believe it. The girls believe if they get phalloplasty that they're going to have a functional penis that they can impregnate girls with, and boys think that they're going to become a woman and possibly be able to carry a child and menstruate, and they don't understand that this is all just basically cosmetic surgery.
Well, I will say the benefit that I had, even though I believe the lies in the beginning, is that I even knew that I wouldn't be able to menstruate or have a child.
Mhm.
So
But
I
you
at
thought
least had some common sense.
that's good. That's good. So let's go back to your childhood a little bit. You came from immigrant parents, and it sounds like you did not feel like you sort of met the stereotype of what it meant to be a male, especially in your culture.
That is correct. Like I said, culturally, well, by blood and where my family comes, they're Mexican, but they raised me here in the United States, more specifically California. So obviously, I didn't really get to see my culture much, except for what was here in the States, which, unless it's the ones that come directly from Mexico, I really don't see. I don't count that much as Mexican cultural wise, because it's at that point it's starting to connect with us with here in the States. But I think it was also for me, I would say, like I've said, Mexican by blood, but American by culture and by birth. So I probably had two cultures colliding at times. So I didn't really know where to fit. Too white to be a Mexican, too Mexican to be white is how some people would say.
Well, and it sounds like you were too feminine to fit in with the sort of machismo of your culture, and you can't become a woman. I'm just thinking about, if you'd been, sort of the same kind of characteristics you had, but you were in a family where the parents were like, yeah, so he's a little feminine. That's all right. If the trajectory would have changed a little bit, it seems like some parents are very easygoing about kids who don't conform to stereotypes, and other parents are very alarmed at it and worried, oh no, I don't want a sissy boy, or oh no, if he's effeminate, it must mean he's gay. And there's a lot of concern about that in some cultures. Do you feel like that was part of what happened to you?
Well, like I said, my father, he was always absent from my life because he was always working nonstop. My mother was very controlling, so I really don't know precisely just because my mother wouldn't really let me do much, and eventually I just gave up and just stayed by myself. Monitored everything, was kept an eye on myself with video games, computers, anything, just to keep my mind off everything else.
So it seems like you're maybe just not a very happy kid and trying to distract yourself from the life you were in.
Yeah, I guess I would agree with that.
Okay. So when did you start going to therapy?
Um, I personally went when I was right before I turned 19, so at 18 and then 19, and then that was the entire time I was going to therapy, and that was because I assumed that I was transgender and I wanted to get the answers. Which obviously, yeah, the answer I should have received was, "No, you're a man.
Yeah.
Can't change anything." But as I was in California and went to a LGBT center, they said, "Oh no, you're definitely a woman. You're trans. Here's your letter. Have fun."
Well, and
Oh,
it's
that
interesting because I just got done talking to Richie last week, a male a little bit older than you who went through, to a gender clinic, and really just they didn't ask him any issue, underlying issues at all. They just said, "Yep, you go down this path," and they made it very easy for him to assume that identity, and they didn't look at any other potential issues. So did they ask you about your childhood, or how you fit in with your family, your relationship with your dad, those kind of things?
I feel like she probably did. It's been a while, but because I know I obviously did bring up the same thing I always say. Quiet kid, very reserved,
Mhm.
shy, quiet, timid, and I thought that meant that I must have been a woman, and she took my word for it. I have actually her records that she has from me, so I haven't had the opportunity to look through all of it because the few that I've skimmed just have made my blood boil.
Can you talk about those? What do they say?
Well, if you give me a minute, I can pull them up.
Sure.
Right, I guess it would be my diagnosis, which I in California back in 2016 was 302.85, gender dysphoria. Saying that I'm 19 years old, transgender female, Hispanic. Let me see. Ever since I was little, I felt female. I repressed my feelings about it. Let me see. I attended sessions in a traditional male clothing. They said I told my mother, but she cried each time I told her. See, so I've at the time I told a cousin and a friend, and who are supportive. See,
So from what you said, it sounds like they're saying that you were always this way, but you repressed it when you were a child.
yes.
Um, and
And then let's see, it says, I'm not sure about my transition and would like more information support. And this was documented on March 11th, 2016.
so you weren't sure that you wanted to go down this route. You wanted more information. Did you get what you needed?
In regards to medically transitioning, yes, but actual answers, hell no. Excuse
No.
my language.
Oh, no, you're fine. I would be angry too. So basically, what were the options that your therapist gave you?
Like I said, transition. She had my letter right away. And she did not want to gatekeep me. Obviously, didn't tell me any potential side effects or anything. Just said that, yeah, I could become a woman.
And obviously that didn't work out for you. Can you talk about what it was that happened when you started down that path? I'm assuming you started out with estrogen. Did you take puberty blockers as well?
No, I never took puberty blockers. I
Okay.
took estradiol and spironolactone.
Okay.
And actually, I just went down a few documents, and you want to know what's interesting?
Mhm.
This is dated September 5th, 2018. So apparently I was still seeing her at that time. Let's see. So by now I had already had breast implants. Discuss worrying. This is her notes. Discuss worrying lately about whether or not she did the right thing by transitioning. Explore feelings regarding videos of detransitioning. Discuss wondering if childhood trauma made in quotations, and I'm not doing that myself. It's like in the
In
document itself.
quotations.
Made her make this choice. Use Socratic questionings to help client explore other options/reasons. Use psychoeducation to help client understand that childhood trauma, emotions, and unhappiness are often put aside in the excitement of transitioning, i.e., once the excitement is over and things settle down, that feelings start to surface again.
Wow. That's kind of shocking.
I am. I remember telling her about the possibility of transition, so I am glad she signed this, and it is. So at least it gives something.
So how does that feel when you read that?
I wish I could say that legally, but I am on camera.
So
But
pretty
let's
strong
just,
feelings.
yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
Well, and to me, basically what she just admitted is that clients come in, they have issues. She pushed them to transition, full well knowing that after going through these medical interventions, these troubles would resurface. So why didn't she address those concerns prior to pushing you to transition?
I don't know. I don't know. I wish I knew, but it tells you right here in this message, in this document, that she used whatever it's called the Socratic method questioning to make me not think of that.
Right. Socratic method is basically trying to lead you with questions. So she was trying to
So she was leading me.
ask you questions so that you would come to the answer on your own, rather than her telling you. But if she was using that method specifically to bring you to a specific conclusion, to me that sounds like conversion therapy, honestly.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, because she also writes, client appeared calm, depressed, and ready for session. I don't know what DX stands for, but it's adjustment disorder with anxiety.
so your last session, you expressed regret and concern.
As of now, yes.
Wow.
I will actually now, after our interview for today, I will print this all out and organize it by date. So
Yeah. It's just the whole, maybe you can tell me, what do you think about the whole idea of people being transgender? What do you think of that now that you've been through this?
well, I've had the opportunity to speak to other detransitioners and other individuals that are much more wise than me. I have studied some medical records and some records as well from other individuals. I've come to the fact that there is no such thing as transgender. I think it's some people say these are homosexual kids that are being converted to transgender. Some say that it's trauma, some say it's autism. I don't know what it is exactly, but in the end, I don't think it is actually transgenderism. I think it's, like I said, could be any of those other things that people are using as an escape.
I'm just curious how you're coping with all of this, because just based on my experience, sort of dissociating from myself to take on the identity of a male when I was little, it was very comforting, because then I didn't have to be that little girl that I felt was vulnerable, and I could be somebody else. And once you realize that you can't be somebody else and you're sort of stuck with who you are, you have to accept that and work on who you are. And I'm wondering where you are in that process.
So, regarding to how I'm doing with the coping and all that, well, not long after I realized I made the mistake, I went down no more than a year's, probably a bit shorter, but of alcoholism.
Mhm.
So that wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Um, but I had to stop eventually.
And that was
Um,
after your surgery.
I don't remember exactly what the
Okay.
timeline was, but I do know I had to stop because I had made some really bad choices. Um, but yeah, no, I went down alcoholism for a bit. I masked it as, oh, I'm just following this one YouTuber, and everyone was just joking with it, all the alcohol. But I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I was masking that. It was like, well, no, I'm heavily depressed. I wouldn't tell anyone. Then again, that's one thing on me. I don't really tell most people, but I would say coping wise now, I accept the fact that I'm a man, and I try to use my energy on other things, doing interviews like this, talking on my own channel, and whenever I get the chance, talk to other people in real life, and I haven't been able to affect others. And it also helps that I'm now in Texas compared to California.
A little bit more reasonable there.
You'd actually be surprised.
Really? See, it
Don't
depends. I think it depends on what part of Texas. I know Amber
Da-
Briggle lives in
Dallas
Denton,
is
and yeah, she's a mother who said that I believe she knew before her daughter was born that her daughter was actually a boy, and she's gotten, the support of Beto O'Rourke, and the Obamas flew her to the White House to celebrate. And
I don't like Robert, and it's a disgrace that people call him Beto.
Beto,
And yeah, I will not call him that because I know he's using it to try to get the Mexican vote. I only call him Robert. It's like, yeah, no.
yeah, it's
There-
very interesting that he's appropriating that culture, isn't it?
Yep. An Irishman stealing from the Mexicans. Why am I not surprised? Eh, I only know a few Betos, Betos. Actually, that's how you pronounce it, Beto. And none of them are Irish.
Yeah, it's very clear to me that he's trying to cater to a certain demographic, and I find that really offensive.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really bad.
But if you live in a world where a man can be a woman, then I guess an Irish person can become Mexican just by changing their name.
That and also a white woman becoming black, a black man becoming, and I'm sorry, white man becoming black. I think the two that I'm talking about, transracial now.
Yeah, it gets very confusing. And I know you don't have kids yet, but you talked about maybe wanting them someday in a previous
That's
interview.
if I can.
Yeah,
That's
if you
if I can.
can. Yeah, you still don't know, but I'm guessing you don't want them to grow up in a world where they can just be whatever they say they are.
No,
There's no
if
reality.
I've started to make a lot of new friends here in Texas, and I will say if I'm able to have at least one kid, I will strive for four at least. But I will make sure they are only associating with my friends' kids or the grandchildren, and I will try to keep them within a small community.
That's a really good
No
idea.
internet for them at all,
That's,
which technically is going to be hypocritical on me because I'll be on the internet 24/7.
adults are different than kids. And that's something that I think parents need to know, is that adults are different than kids, and you can't expect kids to navigate the craziness of the internet.
Well, some of these adults can't even navigate the internet themselves.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
if you
So
look at the White House right now, we have two male adults. If you saw in France, like yeah, and one
yeah,
of them is advocating for castration of these children.
right. Yeah. When you have a man claiming to be a woman, claiming that it's good for children to be sterilized, there's something really wrong with the world. So you don't know whether or not you're going to be able to have kids. You want to have kids. Can you just describe the effects of the spirulactin and was it the estradiol that you took?
Yeah, estradiol and spironolactone. The effects on my body, like I've said, and in our last interview, obviously, I have atrophy of my genitals, so much smaller. It's really hard to use a restroom. Really hard. Like,
Oh.
I feel bad for Richie.
Because his is
But like,
gone.
yeah,
So
his are gone.
Richie had his completely cut off. Yours is just atrophied.
Yeah.
Do you have any expectation that the atrophy will go away and that you'll return to where you were, or?
I have no clue. I would have to talk to a doctor, and honestly, I'm not a fan of doctors anymore.
I bet.
But I've been told that there's one doctor within the Dallas-Fort Worth area and they trust enough to handle me properly. So I'm
Good.
taking their word, but I'm waiting on my health insurance to come in first.
Yeah. It's got to be such a strange experience to to every day be reminded of this path that you were put on that was the wrong path, and how medical people who were supposed to be helping you ended up hurting you so much.
I know a lot of people on the internet say it's my fault for being apparently gullible enough to do this. But it's like, if you're a small kid and you haven't explored the world that much, what do you expect? Like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to know the world, all the knowledge in the world right away? And when your culture specifically trusts doctors because they're smarter than us, like, I'm gonna listen to a doctor who's telling me this is accurate, even though reality says the otherwise, and I get dragged through the mud. But then again, we're all being dragged.
Yeah, and I say this to every detransitioner who brings this up, because when you go to a professional for help, you are relying on them to guide you appropriately, and they didn't. And I don't see that that's your fault in any way, shape, or form. That's completely on the healthcare professionals who did something completely unethical. Clearly, you're not transgender because you're you're a strong masculine male now, and you're you were born male, you are male, you can't change to be female. The fact that they fed you delusional ideas and gave, I mean, I just want to reiterate, this is not your fault, Abel. And anybody who says it is doesn't have a clue what they're talking about, because you went to somebody with your trust and you were a vulnerable kid, and they took advantage of you.
Yeah, that is true. And that's true. Was that what you said? Like, these are professional. I'm expecting to get a much better response. It's like if I go to a plumber and tell them, like, hey, my toilet's not working, they tell, oh, well, the issue is actually your sink and then the pipe. It's like, okay, I'll take your word, but that doesn't seem normal. It's like, and I just had a conversation with a relative of mine. Idiot he is. He's an idiot. It's a relative, so I have to like them. I'm more proficient in firearms than he is, and he was telling me, like, hey, so what if I like 3D print this part which houses the explosion? I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, yeah, your hand's gonna blow up. You're probably gonna kill yourself. Like, okay, I'll give it to a friend. It's like, well, I told him the truth. Because like, if I wanted to lie to him about it, they say, oh yeah, no, it should be fine. A piece of plastic that you 3D print out of your bedroom is definitely going to be able to house an explosion. It's like, no.
Well, and that, I think the analogy of the plumber is really good, that you go to specific professionals expecting them to help you. And if you go to them and they give you completely the wrong information, especially a healthcare professional, as you said, even that's a little bit different. Like, plumbers aren't held to the same standard as medical professionals. And most people, if a medical professional said, you have cancer and you need to get chemotherapy, most people would say, oh, okay. And then if it turned out that you didn't have cancer and that you didn't need chemotherapy, most people would be outraged. But in this one case, they're saying, oh, no, it was your fault.
Yeah. Well, it's your fault that you sterilize yourself. It's your fault that you castrate yourself. It's your fault you don't have breasts anymore. It's like, no, it's your fault. Now you're 30 and you already, your body's acting like if you're 80. It's like,
yeah.
No.
No.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And some bloody sand is what I say.
Well,
but I can't say that on Twitter anymore. I'm in trouble.
Oh, are you going to get booted?
I was mass reported by a furry troll, and people, the same people. Actually, some people, one person who was with us during the Florida event, they were also mass reported, but I was the one who was suspended for 12 hours because I was done talking to them, so all I replied was with gifts, and that was what got me suspended for 12 hours.
Wow. Oh, interesting.
So
Wow.
I'm trying to be on my best behavior, but I'm trying. The more that I see Twitter, the more I'm getting pissed because people are.
Oh, go ahead.
Because people are getting obviously mad that Chloe's speaking out, and whenever she does, people drag her through the mud. And I've had the opportunity to speak with her, and usually I'll just reply and I'll tell people, "Hey, this is actually what's going on," or because I know she does not have the time in the world to reply to everyone. Yeah. But these activists, as soon as they see me and all her messages saying that I'm defending her, it's like I've been called white knight, shilling for her. It's like,
oh, wow. Yeah. Wow.
Just that's like, what do you want me to do? Like I see a child getting attacked.
Yeah, she's a child. And one of the things that I want to point out is that the gender doctors will say that the only way they decide if a child gets these medical interventions is if that child wants them. And if the child says that they're transgender, that's the criteria. And so basically the doctors are saying the only criteria we use is whether or not a child or somebody who's vulnerable or might have mental health issues comes in and is confused, then we're going to put them on this pathway. There's no other treatment that I can think of that I can walk into my doctor's office and say, I have this, give me this. And then if it doesn't turn out, people will say, well, it's your own fault because you didn't know any better. To me, the narrative is just so messed up. And Chloe, again, is in California. For people who don't know, she had her breasts removed. She was on testosterone.
At 15, if I remember 15. Correctly.
Yeah, she started puberty blockers and
at 13.
Testosterone. Yeah, when she was really, really young.
Not
and
long after starting puberty.
Yeah, the same response you that well, she should have known better. Can you?
They also drag her parents through the mud. Yeah. And I have to tell these people, it's like, look, parents aren't really given much of a choice. Like, if they don't know, they don't know. And they're told by a medical professional, like, well, if you don't do this, your child's going to kill themselves. Or do you want a kid that kills themselves? Or do you want a live transgender child? And well, parents are like, well, I don't like transgender. I don't really understand it, but I don't want my child to kill themselves. So, okay, fine, castrate them.
Right. Yeah, I'd rather have a sterilized child than a dead child, is what a lot of parents think their choice is.
Mm-hmm. But that's not actually the truth. You have way more options.
Well, and that's what's surprising to me is that it to me, it almost is like therapists have it's like they're just saying we have this one tool and we're going to use only this one tool, when in fact they have a whole toolkit. They're just not bothering to use it.
Well, because the other ones, they don't make as much as money as the main one.
Yeah.
Just give it to these kids and these adults that they're transgender. Obviously, now you leave them on to become a lifetime patient, guinea pig. You now have a cash cow for the rest of their lives, probably your life as well, and multiple patients. So, yeah, what do you have to lose? You're probably not going to get a lawsuit because statute of limitations usually very short in most places, and these people don't really realize it until way past statute of limitation is over. And if they do, they only have a few options. They can live through it, like what you, me, Richie, Chloe, and all the others are doing, or they end themselves. Mm-hmm. And then if they do that one, the activists use their stories like, oh, well, they weren't supported enough. Like, mm-hmm. A couple, but whatever. We can't really.
Well, and I don't know if you've heard the line, well, you were never really trans in the first place.
Oh, I've been told that all the time by these activists. And it's like, no, hold on. I was told I was definitely transgender. If I were to call my therapist under my old name, and under a very feminine pitch, which it puts too much strain on my voice nowadays. She wasn't say, oh, how are you? How's your transition? He goes like, She says I'm still trans.
Mhm.
She don't know the truth.
It says on your paperwork that you are.
Not anymore on California.
No,
I'm
but on the
granted.
notes she wrote you
Yeah.
are transgender. It wasn't a question. It sounds like she just said you are.
Yeah. So I'm just like, so who am I gonna believe? Some activist on Twitter who's probably a kid, or some creepy ass old dude, or
Mhm.
creepy dude in general?
Yeah. Well, these are
Or
people who want you to shut up because I think my personal thought is that they've been brainwashed into believing this because the people are making so much money off of this. I mean, this is
oh,
just
definitely. Like I
they
said,
have, yeah, they're like a guard dog guarding their, their fortune. And
mhm.
if you speak out, if Richie speaks out, if Chloe speaks out and starts to say, hey, wait a minute, there's something wrong with what you're doing, then they're going to watch their fortunes
Disappear.
disappear. Yeah. And I think to me, it's heartbreaking that anybody would do what they did to you just for money. I mean, I can't put a price on someone's fertility. There just isn't one.
I don't know, but these people don't care.
No. So what have you got for the future? Are you going to keep speaking out? Are you going to try and reach out to children? What is sort of
I'm gonna keep speaking out. I can't really say much right now as I'm currently still in the works with some work. I don't want to say anything publicly yet,
okay.
but I am working with other people, other organizations. I will be doing more work later this year. Obviously, I would eventually love to stop doing this. I would honestly, I'd rather just live a quiet life. No one knows who the hell I am, but here I am. Who knows if I'm castrated through these medications? So at least I will be saying, I was like, hey, hold up, this ain't right.
Well, and it's so important that you do speak out. And I think that that's something people need to know is that those who are speaking out about this issue aren't doing it because it's fun. It's pretty crummy.
It
You know,
sucks.
I get
Eh,
called names all the time. Sometimes I don't even open Twitter because I'm like, I just don't have it in me today to read through all the nasty messages that I'm getting. You must get even more than I do.
Actually, surprisingly, because I think I'm still small. Most people don't really know who I am still. Well, if you compare me to Richie and Chloe, who are much bigger than me, there's also I don't know how to pronounce her first name, but her last name is Watson on Twitter.
Sinead.
That's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
I pronounce it very poorly. I pronounce it Sinead.
That might be more correct.
I have no clue. I would love to talk to her, but I feel like she's way too busy.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
there's also Grace. They're much bigger than I am.
And Helena.
Helena, yeah. So I think I'm just more of to these activists, I'm more of a small fish and compared to them,
But
which
your
is
story
fine.
is just as important. I mean, that's what
Oh
I
no,
think is
definitely.
that every time someone like you comes out and adds to what's happening, it helps to shift the balance, because for so long, all we heard is that, you gotta affirm, you gotta affirm, you gotta affirm. And so every story like yours helps to break down that narrative.
Oh no, definitely. But I think that's also where I'm still good, because
Mm.
I'm still technically, like I said, compared to the other ones that I've just mentioned, I'm still small fish.
Mhm.
So not a lot of people have their eyes on me yet. So I could still speak.
Right.
As
Well,
long as I don't go on any big publications, like, oh, okay, now we know who he is, and well, here comes the death threats.
well, and what I've learned is that there's a lot of it's sort of like big bark, very little bite.
Mm.
That I feel like there's, they just like to be mean, but so far I haven't seen any indication that they're actually going to follow through on anything.
Well,
And it sounds to me like you can protect yourself.
well, I live in Texas.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, have fun and good luck.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
mean, you look like somebody I wouldn't mess with.
well, surprisingly, I'm much kinder than I look. I need to work on my Mexican hat, on my Mexican side, to look more intimidating.
Hopefully you won't need it, but
well, like I said, I'm in Texas. I'm fine.
yeah. Was there
But
anything
no,
else that you wanted to say before we end?
I was actually gonna say one thing that I've been accused of, which is still funny on social media. I'm being told that I apparently I make so much money off of doing this because I've spoken to right-wing people, and
Like, where's the money? Come on.
I last week I interviewed a detransitioner, which I don't know when you're posting this, but if it's before Monday, which is when I'll be posting mine,
Uh-huh.
and I don't want to say who it is because I want it to be secret. If this is after Monday, check out my channel for that video.
Yeah. Either
Uh,
way, yeah, check it
yeah.
out.
They've also told me they don't even make any money off of this, yet people accuse them of getting money. I'm pretty sure, so Twitter has accused Chloe of getting money
Yeah.
because they questioned how she got to Florida and all that.
Yeah. I've never, we, partners, Advocates Protecting Children has books that we publish, and people are always saying you're making all this money off the books, but all the money goes right into the organization. We're not making a penny off of it, because we knew people would say you're just doing this to make money, and we don't want to. Why would we do this to make money? I mean, can you imagine all the other things we could be doing to make money? Why would we do this?
I would have loved to make the money Elon Musk makes, but if the price for that is to be castrated and having
what's
chest,
the price? Yeah,
like if that's my price, it was like I don't think the money's worth it.
Yeah, okay. I don't think it worked out.
Yeah, like look at Richie. He's had everything done, and I'm pretty sure people will accuse him of having so much money since he's going to sue the NHS. So I'm just like, yeah. I've been told that, and I'm just like, I wish I had money. So like,
well, and it's ironic because I grew up thinking that it was, right-wing conservatives had so much money and that they could fund, whatever narrative they wanted. And now I'm no. Wait a minute. All of the money is in big pharma and these doctors who are making all this money. That's where it's, this is, unless there's organizations that are, giving their money out to other people, I haven't seen any indication that these organizations are loaded.
I have a friend. He's a right wing. He works with a right wing organization because he does media, and he doesn't even make any money just because he's also a journalist, and he's being currently investigated by the FBI.
Oh wow. Yeah, not only do we not make money, but we get threats, we get called names, and if you kick the wrong hornet's nest, you might get investigated by the FBI.
Well, I know for a fact him and one other guy aren't even allowed within DC. I think I know at least one of them will get automatically arrested if they get near the DC. Wow. And that's because they were there at January 6th reporting on the event, on what happened. One of them actually, I'm not sure if you remember the young lady the Air Force woman who was shot by Capitol Police. Yeah. One of them, he actually caught that on camera, and he's banned from DC. If he gets there, he's he's not allowed. He's actually apparently listed as a terrorist now.
Wow. So he's a reporter. So they're going after journalists, which is, and one of the things that I wanted to mention is that there's some efforts. The United Nations is pushing an effort to impose travel bans on people like us who they call hateful. And so,
joke's on you. I ain't leaving Texas.
And I might need to join you.
Texas. Well, Florida's beating us personally, but
Florida's doing a surprisingly good job. I've been super impressed with the Florida Surgeon General, who was the one who organized the meeting where we first met.
I know a lot of people don't like Governor DeSantis. Like, I'm not a fan of him, but I give him credit where credit is due. He's actually protecting these children, unlike Newsom, who's actually.
He has not been great.
Oh no, Newsom supports what was done to me and Chloe.
Well, apparently my understanding is that he got money from the gender clinics.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I'm not sure if you saw on Twitter, UC San Diego is now covering transgender surgeries. They're covering it, and they'll do everything: voice training, feminine facial surgery, bottom surgery, top surgery.
Wow.
Everything. And I'm just like, and I tweeted on it, and I asked, like, hey, so the ones who've gone to this school and those who are not transgender, like, what's your opinion? Just like, a lot of people are pissed about it. It's like, I completely understand people are pissed. Like, their money is going for other students to mutilate their bodies.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the issues that I have is all the resources that are going into this. And it's one thing, if you wanted to wear a dress and wear some lipstick, that's something you can change your mind about. But once you start, chemically castrating young adults and children, that's a whole different level. That's not something you can undo.
At that point, I consider Frankenstein surgery. So if I want to go very, damn, I forgot the word I was looking. I was gonna accuse the doctors of being Dr. Mengele.
Yeah, I think that that's accurate.
A lot of people wouldn't like that comparison just because of who he worked with when he was alive still.
Yeah. Well, but he did these kinds of surgeries on children. Um,
And
and now they're
well,
doing it again.
he didn't just do that. He is crimes against humanity is all I can
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. And I hope that the doctors that did what they did to you and Chloe and Richie, I hope that those doctors are held accountable in the same way that Mengele was and the other.
Oh, he wasn't even held accountable. He got to live.
Right. That's true. I mean, I guess historically accountable, but we do need to
Historic.
have, yeah, we need to have trials. These people need to be held accountable.
I'd like to start with that female doctor in Florida, if you know which I'm talking about.
Oh, I think I do. Yeah.
The
Gallagher.
I try not to say these doctors' names, but yeah, that's exactly who it is.
Yeah.
I'd like to start off with her.
Yeah, well, for those who don't know, she brags about yeeting teats, which is basically cutting breasts off of young women.
Yeah,
And
she's mostly popular on TikTok, which is where she posts all her things.
and what she's doing looks very much like recruiting. I mean, it's very much trying to make it look cool and fun.
Doesn't she take photos with her patients and
She does.
give like either the patient or the parents a shirt saying "eat the teats"?
Yeah, it's really creepy. I mean,
I
this is
think someone posted that she makes like $9,000 off a pair of breasts.
wow, wow. And to me, that's just that's criminal. She needs to spend the rest of her time in jail. I mean,
Yeah.
in a not pleasant jail. I mean, hard labor for the rest of her life might just a little bit of what she's done.
I feel like solitary confinement for the rest of her life, and not
Yeah.
even allowed to go outside would be
Yeah.
preferred.
Yeah. I mean, when you consider what she's done to so many young women and
And these
her
women
active
believe,
recruitment.
and these women actually believe what they're doing is helpful.
Yeah. Well, and especially one of the things that I've noticed in some of the pictures that have been posted with her is that these are young women who have self-harm scars
Oh
that
yeah,
their
I've
teachers have
seen
been
that.
cutting. This
Cutting
is
all over the breast, arms,
yeah.
and apparently that's not a red flag for these medical professionals.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Honestly, another doctor I'd love to get charged would be Bowers. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
He's done a number on a lot. Well, he's come out and said now that that children who are on puberty blockers uh, lose their ability to have sexual
like
function.
what was it, like before or after stage 2, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly how it's worded.
Yeah.
I
Basically,
looked it up, and I was wondering, like, was I still developing,
uh,
because I was only 19, but no, I think it's like under 13 is when that stage was.
well, it depends on how quickly you matured because kids develop at very different rates.
Yeah.
So it depends on, had you fully gone through puberty, it's hard to know.
Well, his most famous patient is Jazz Jennings, and you've seen how he's turned out.
Yeah.
The kid is overweight and depressed just because of I'm not a betting man, but I'm gonna bet that it's because of the bottom surgery and
Yeah.
all the complications. Because like I would have been heavily depressed. I would have been 600 pounds by then.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that he was pushed into it at such a young age. I know a lot of little boys who like to, you know, dress up and who, maybe like the color pink and maybe like to play with flowers and dolls. I mean, the fact I mean, I can't imagine doing all this to him rather than just saying, "Hey, it's
Honest,
okay."
I wouldn't be surprised if, and I hope this doesn't sound dark as hell, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jazz went the same way as David Reimer.
Yeah. Yeah,
If
which
you
is
remember how,
really,
if
yeah.
you remember how his story ends.
Yeah, it's a very sad story. Both David Reimer and his brother were patients of John Money, sorry, Mooney Money. And they both, I believe, ended up committing suicide as a
Yeah,
result of what happened.
David commits suicide 2 years after his brother,
Yeah.
and David's the one who had his penis accidentally burnt off during a, what is that called?
Circumcision.
Circumcision.
Yeah.
I've had that, and I apparently didn't know that the name for some reason. But yeah, it was really bad. Technically castrated David, and well, money came in and said, "Oh well, we can raise your son as a girl," and well, that didn't work out.
No.
By his teenage years, that's when he was told the truth, and well,
Yeah, what a horrible story. And John Money was I think it's John Money. It might not be
it's
John.
John Money. It's
John
John
Money.
Money. Yeah,
He
I've
was
been
the one
studying
who
him the last
really
few days.
he was the one who really started all this absurdity. That
Him and one other doctor, I just can't
yeah.
remember his name. Starts with a K though. I know the last name starts with a K. I have that info actually.
Yeah,
I've been actually studying them the last few days.
oh, that's good and I think
Alfred
Kinsey.
Kinsey? Yeah, Kinsey, yeah.
Kinsey did a lot of experimentation with sexuality, suggesting that, children can orgasm and such, which
Yeah, no,
probably isn't something we should be worried about. I mean, honestly, the fact that you have grown men,
I've been studying more on Alfred, on John and Joseph, on all of them, and they've actually the videos that I've been researching, they relate back to other people. So I think I'm gonna just start taking like a month or two, just work on studying on who they are, what they've done. So if we do an interview and you see a giant board with John Money on one, Alfred Kinzinger on one, Joseph Mengele on the other end, they're all connected. I think I need some help. Send some
well,
help.
I think somebody needs to do this work though, because there are so many of these connections. Like, how is it that the UN is now pushing this? I mean, to me, it makes no sense that they're saying that.
I'm surprised Germany's doing this, especially with their history with Mengele.
No kidding. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I'm just like, come on, Germany, you should have learned after the first time.
Yeah. Well, and
no offense to the Germans watching this. I love you.
But you would think that they would be a little bit more cautious about experimenting on children. I mean,
or experimenting on people in general.
And the countries like Sweden and Finland who started this, who really pushed this, they're starting to pull back and say, whoa, I think we might.
I think the UK also starting to pull back as well, because I know besides Richie's case, there was a young lady who also had the same Kirabel, yes, with the Travis, was it Travis or
Tavistock?
Yeah, that's the one. I couldn't remember.
And one of the things that occurred to me the other day, it might have actually been this morning, Richie posted, why is everybody worried about the girls and not the boys?
Yeah, I posted about that as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you saw what I wrote.
I didn't see what you wrote. I'll have to go back and look.
All I said is I don't blame the detrans women for concerning themselves with girls and women because it affects them personally. I don't blame radical feminists or gender critical women for concerning themselves over children and women and girls, because it affects them. Yeah. Me personally, I care more about the boys because obviously I'm a man. So it's like, so I don't blame people, like if for the women caring only for the women and the men caring only for the men, because it's
sometimes you care about what's close to your heart.
Yeah, I don't blame people for doing that.
Well, one of the things that occurred to me is that that you and Richie and Walt Heyer and Billy Burley, and there's a number of males. It's almost like you were at the forefront of this. And then a little bit later on, they started going after the girls. But it does seem like the older
people, from what I'm seeing, is a lot of AGP, which is, and what you just said, Walt Heyer, his was AGP with his grandmother. I think Richie, he might just been gay.
I think he was gay.
And they just pushed it on him.
Yeah. And I wonder how many gay boys they did this to, because they wanted to, and that I've seen, I think his name, is it Kai Shapley? is a little boy whose mom said that she thought her son was gay and that she couldn't have him be gay. And then suddenly she realized he was transgender. And I was like, whoa, that
Yeah.
sounds like you just converted your gay child into being straight.
Yep. What is it? It's something by proxy. It starts with
Oh,
an M.
Munchausen.
Munchausen by
Yeah.
proxy.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not sure if you know the story of James Younger here in
Mhm.
Texas.
Yep.
His
Yeah, that's a
mother.
heartbreaking story.
I've actually had the opportunity to speak to the father, Jeff.
Mhm.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah. What they're doing, for people who don't know, this is a mother who, from the age of, I think, 2.5, started telling her son that he was actually a girl. And it
Yeah.
sounds like was withholding affection unless he accepted that he was a girl.
Yeah.
Um,
They've gone to therapy. They've gone to court.
yeah.
The mother moved to another county just so she could get a more favorable ruling in her case.
Yeah.
And apparently, I found out that the judge in that case was actually appointed by the governor here in Texas, Abbott.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Abbott is not a friend of these kids. He's
From what
really,
I've heard, apparently he takes money from both sides. So from
oh,
the clinics and pharmacies, and then from the conservatives or who are against it. So at least it keeps him on float.
in the long run though, that doesn't go well. Like
Oh.
that's going to end up backfiring, but unfortunately it means that he's not standing up for kids.
No, he can't really stand up.
Yeah, well, that's true. Good
But I don't
point.
blame him for not standing up at
Yeah,
all.
let's
but...
we'll use different language. That was very ableist of me.
Oh no, mine was intentional. But yeah, no, from the people I've had an opportunity to speak with who know the inner outs of what's going on with politics, that's what they've said about Abbott. As much as I don't like him now that I'm being told what he's been doing, I prefer him over Robert for
Yes.
governor.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's no question there. What I'm wondering is if you're going to be involved with legislative efforts, because I know that I think Texas only meets every 2 years, but if you're somebody who's going to be testifying at the legislatures about,
I don't know when they start here, but like I said, I can't really say much on if I'll be speaking on that. I have spoken to other organizations, and
so you're aware, people are
I'm
aware that you're there.
Yes, I've obviously most of my presence on Twitter made a lot of connections here on I'm in Texas, and I've been doing a lot of street interviews, so I'm getting my name starting to go out there, so people are aware who I am. So and obviously these people have either they run these organizations, or they're within the organization, so they're spreading my name out. It's like, hey, here's a young man who went through these surgeries. Let's talk to him, see what he can offer us to help the children here. It's like I said, everything's still in the beginning phase of everything. I can't really say publicly until it comes out, because I know if I say anything too early, these activists are gonna have they're gonna have a fun day trying to destroy everything.
Well, to me, it's wonderful that you're willing to turn what was a terrible experience for you into something that can potentially save children from going through what you went through.
Well, I'll say it this way: if I can at least save one person, I've at least saved the world. That's how I'll see it.
That's how I feel too. Oftentimes, sometimes I think, oh, I'm so tired of this fight. But then I think if I can help one child, then it's been worth it.
Yeah,
And
I've
I suspect
actually
you've helped more than one child.
Yeah, I've actually had the opportunity to speak to Walter. He's actually the one who helped me detransition. So to him, he's saved me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know who Shapeshifter is.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got to meet with him when he was in Austin.
Yeah, I saw your interview. It was so cute.
Did you like the intro? I try to have some fun with that one.
You guys just are so cute.
But how was the intro? That's my main question. Was it funny enough? Because I was having fun. I did that on purpose.
Well, and how is Shapeshifter doing?
He's doing okay. Well. He's taking a break from doing internet stuff. I will inform him of any event, any help that people need, but he said he's not going to do anything for a while.
Okay.
He wants his privacy for a bit. which I don't blame him.
Yeah. And that's something
But
that I see a lot of, I'm in some detransition groups online, and people are saying, okay, now that I've detransitioned, should I go through surgery to remake what was, and I'm like, no,
no,
just
yeah,
don't.
people have told Shapeshifter he should get a phalloplasty. And I was
Yeah.
like, no.
No,
Like,
I know Billy Burley did that. He had a vaginoplasty and then detransitioned. And in order to get his driver's license changed back to male, he had to get a phalloplasty. And he said it was just a horrible mistake. And his body's just completely damaged from it. So
well, if you've seen What Is a Woman,
Matt Walsh.
Scott
Scott
Nugent, he got a phalloplasty. Well, technically she
right.
got a phalloplasty, and they somehow messed it up. Now she has hair growing inside of the penis.
I read that and I just thought, oh, there's just so much wrong
Yeah,
with
I've
this.
spoken with Scott as well, and that's what they told me.
Yeah. And my heart breaks for these guys and these women who have been through so much. And so I can understand the question of like, should I try and have surgery to
I'm
remake?
glad I only had breast implants.
Yeah.
And
Well, and that they can't really recreate it. I mean, I think that's something people need to know, is that, if you've had your vagina changed, if you've had your penis changed, you can't really, it's cosmetic. You're still male or female. It just looks different. It's a cosmetic difference.
oh, that is definitely true. Like I said, you're actually in the interview I had that I will be releasing Monday, I do bring up that with the detransitioner who I spoke with. They actually interacted with, because they're much older than I am, but their doctor was the doctor who trained at Dr. Bowers. And that doctor testified in California, saying that they're just cosmetic surgeries. They don't do anything.
Yeah. Except cause damage. I mean, they're not good cosmetic surgeries. They're really damaging. So
like, I know I've shown a million people. I've shown it all on my own channel. I don't know if I've shown you my chest in our last interview.
Yeah.
But,
well, and the shapeshifter video, it's in there too. So if anybody wants to see it,
wherever, anywhere I go, nowadays I'm just like it's like, this is like I said, I have more work in the plan, but anytime I go, I will always ask, like, hey, mind if I take off my shirt some part in the interview? That's what I'm going to start asking now.
Yeah, well, it's really powerful. Billy sent me some pictures of what his abdomen looks like after he had the phalloplasty to reconstruct the penis that he had removed.
I'm kind of curious
gruesome.
what that looks like, if I may.
Yeah, it's pretty gruesome. I think that I can send you a link to a video where I think there's some pictures of it, and it's not good.
Well, to be fair, I don't expect it to be good. I expect it to be terrible. Like, no offense to Billy.
Yeah, no, it's horrific.
The same thing to Shapeshifter and Richie. Like, I don't want to make this sound creepy. Like, I'm kind of curious, like, what it looks like. It's like, I didn't get it myself, but like, I want to see like how horrendous like it is. But like, obviously, I'm not gonna ask. Like,
right?
That's rude as hell. First of all.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, it's just I guess use your imagination and know, and then it's probably even worse than that.
I'm gonna have to become an alcoholic just to withstand some of these things.
No, please don't.
If you see me an alcoholic, if you see a wall of empty tequila bars,
you hit your limit.
Oh no, I'm a lightweight. Like a few drinks in and I'm already out.
Well, reach out before you do that, because we need your strong voice.
Well, if I'm drinking, I'll get you a plane ticket to Dallas and just smack some sense into me.
Okay, sounds good.
You know what? I'll fly in Richie. I was like, hey Richie, I need you to come to Dallas.
We'll just all fly in for an intervention.
Let's see. Richie, you, Shapeshifter, Chloe. Who else am I thinking? Those are the only ones who I talk to.
Walt.
Well, I don't know where he's at, and he's getting old. So
yeah,
no
he is. But I still think he could slap some sense into you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, he'll definitely do it. he'll get apparently he sold the book, so he'll probably bring one of each book and just smack me with
Yeah,
it.
just
Like,
smack
nope,
you around.
smack,
Just
like
knock it
grab one
off.
book, smack me. Grab the other one, smack me until they break. It's like, well, until they break or I pass out.
Yeah. Well, I do appreciate you speaking out. I know it's not easy, but you're making a difference, and that's really what matters.
Well, I'm doing the best that I can.
Yeah.
And so far it's worked. Apparently, my story was the one that helped the shapeshifter, and I didn't even know that.
Oh, that must feel so good.
Yeah, he told me when I was in Austin.
Wow.
It was one of the videos. He saw others, but yeah. Yeah, because I know my video at the time there wasn't really much male detransition at the time, and that was 2.5 years ago. 2 years, 6 months, and 15 days to be
Wow.
exact.
Wow.
I don't know if that was exactly when it was released or if it was or that was the day I recorded in studio. But yeah, no. To my knowledge, well, not including Walt Hire, I'm one of the. I would say mine's one of the first few.
First ones. I would think. I think so. I haven't, because I've seen quite a few, and yours is one of the earliest that I've seen.
Yeah.
So you are making a difference. You've probably helped far more people than you'll ever know.
Well, at the time I didn't have, I wasn't on social media as I am now.
Yeah.
If I was, I would have plugged myself in like YouTube, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and all those. Their
Yeah.
stuff is like, y'all need someone to talk to. I'm here because I know a lot of people were writing comments, and I would reply. It's like, hey, I have an email. Please reach out. Like, I had parents, medical providers comment, and never got a reply from most of them.
I think it's tough, but if people do want to get in touch with you, they can find you on Twitter, right?
Twitter is my main one, and I should switch to something else.
Yeah, especially if you're gonna get.
Well, I've already been suspended over a GIF.
Well, and that's the thing that I've noticed is that if you piss off the wrong person,
I'm just waiting for Elon to buy Twitter, which I don't even know if it's going on anymore.
Yeah, we
But
really
if he
need
does,
we need another social media platform where people don't get kicked off for saying men cannot become women. I mean,
I know there's Truth, which is Trump's, but
yeah, I'm on Getter, and I haven't had any problems so far. So
well, I think I have a Getter, but I don't even touch it.
Yeah, it's the problem is that it's not very intuitive. It's not you know, the people who run Facebook and Twitter, they know they've got a good thing, so they can wield their power.
Yeah,
because
well, then again, those two are the most popular.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's where everyone's at. So that's why I don't really use the other one. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, well, if you get
I know some people,
there are some alternatives.
Yeah, I know people have been telling me that I should do other routes just in case I get banned.
Yeah,
I know I've been told website is a good one.
Yeah, I've been thinking about moving over to Odyssey because.
Oh yeah, that's another one I've been told too. Yeah, I think I'm gonna. I might just join those and start posting there, and then just in case I get removed, at least people know where to find me.
Yeah, the louder you get, the more difference that you start making, the more you're going to be a target.
Well, let's see. What's today? Thursday. I'll find out by next week.
Okay.
Yeah. Give me a week and I'll give back an answer.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Abel.